When you basically go for the CCSK version 5, so these are the domains you are going to learn. These are the 12 core areas you are going to learn, starting from cloud introduction till the technologies and strategies. You are going to learn total 12 domains. So previously there was a lot more stuff, which I feel at that time it was very, a lot of things was there over the head, but now they are very clear and very precise. Now this particular thing is only having 12 domains, which are very crisp and clear, updated to the latest market requirements. Okay. And yeah, the examination cost as of now is 445 US dollars plus tax may come according to the location. The exam cost is 445 US dollars, and you will get 2 attempts in the examination. Even if you fail one time, you can write one more time. But again, for the latest updates, you have to always verify the CSA website before confirming. Okay, that's it. Because again, this is a current scenario, but it may vary. Now, I'm going to walk you through this in an overview. So team, when talking about the domain number one, see domain number one, see this is a step by step they are building it. So that means what? Domain one, we're talking about cloud concepts and architecture. That means they are basically giving you a very good foundation of the cloud platform, like starting from the what is the cloud computing, and how the cloud is built, how the cloud communication happens. When you basically do something in the cloud platform, how the cloud works, how the cloud communication happens, what are the various cloud service and deployment models, shared responsibility model. Like this, they are discussing about the basics of cloud computing. In the first part, they are clearly discussing about basics of cloud computing. Then they will go to the cloud governance. So when you say cloud governance, what we are talking about? Because see, now let's say you are basically you're working as a part of an organization. So when you are working as a part of an organization, does it mean that I can go and put any level of security controls I want? Does it mean that I can put any level of security? Okay, just because I have a business, let me put a DLP there, firewall there, access control there. I'll put some 100 security controls wherever I feel is challenging. Is it like that? So whatever things we are doing all those things for our business. First of all, we have to understand the business. Then we have to do a proper step-by-step risk assessment. And based on that, we should basically put the controls in place, right? So for doing all those things, first of all, you should, like the same way you have a proper governance, policies and processes in the company, you should have a proper cloud framework and cloud governance strategy. This is the most important thing, team. If you have this in a proper structured way, then further things will be easy. And if you don't have this, there is a very high chance things can fail. If you take the example of many companies who basically came back from cloud to on-premises, this is the major reason. This is the major reason that they came back from cloud to on-premises. Because like lack of a proper cloud adoption framework, lack of a proper strategy for cloud computing. That's a problem, right? And that is what we are discussing in the domain 2 of the CCSK examination. Then we have a risk audit and compliance. So when you basically say risk, okay, so how to identify a risk, and basically uh, when compared to the on-premises, what additional risk we are having in the cloud platform, and how to create a proper cloud risk register for your cloud platform. Like the same way we have a risk register for our on-premises. I hope most of the people here have seen the risk register, right? So like the same way we can have a proper risk register for the on-premises, how can I basically have a proper risk register for the cloud platform? So this is an example for a risk register for the on-premises. Like the same way, I mean, for the cloud platform. So you should be able to make a proper risk register like this, so that tomorrow what happens, you'll be able to have visibility on what is wrong in the cloud platform. Then you should basically know about compliance. Now let me give an example. So there is an organization who is working in the on-premises. Okay, let's say we have a company who is handling customers credit card data. Okay, we have an organization who is handling the customers credit card data. So for that organization who is handling customers credit card data, okay, what regulation or standard they have to comply with? What regulation or standard they have to come? PCIDS, right? They have to comply with the PCIDS, right? No doubt in that. So when they have to comply with the PCIDS, okay, when they have to comply with the PCIDS, what happens that I'm going to the cloud platform. Does it mean, okay, because I'm going to the cloud platform, I can, let it be taken care of by the cloud service provider? Let them take care of everything? No, right? So even though I'm going to the cloud platform, compliance liability will always come to me only, right? Okay. So what we have to keep in mind is that we should basically have a understanding on how can I continue my existing compliance from on-premises to cloud. How do I ensure that I'm able to have a proper cloud compliance? In fact, we have a term called as cloud compliance inheritance as well. How can we basically do that? Then obviously visibility. What is a visibility team? Visibility means that now you're saying that you're going to the cloud platform. So how do I know that things are happening properly in the cloud? How do I know that cloud is basically making sure I'm able to do everything I want in the cloud? I should have a proper visibility. So there should be an understanding of how to perform a cloud assessment as well. That's a domain 3. Domain 4, basically how do you manage your cloud? Let's say I have a large company where I have only one cloud account. What is wrong with having only one cloud account? So that basically becomes what team? That basically becomes a single point of failure, right? That basically becomes a single point of failure. So how do I basically avoid that team? I want to make sure I can have a multi-account strategy and I should be able to apply my governance across all the accounts. Okay. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that when you basically go for a cloud platform, you should have a proper structured approach. That's what we call as organizational management. Then I obviously discuss about the identity and access management, including all those stuff in the initial phase itself. Then visibility. When you say visibility, what are the sources where you can get the log files? How do I ensure that I'm able to get the log file from various sources? And what is the use cases for each log files? And how can I integrate AI to my security monitoring? What is the benefit I get if I use AI for my security monitoring? Like how do I detect anomalies more easily and faster? So that is also a very important topic they have added. Then how to build a proper network infrastructure on the cloud platform? What are the tools we can use? What is infrastructure as a code? All these things we are discussing here: SASE, zero trust, etc. Then workload security. So team, what is a workload? So those things which are running on our memory is called as a workload. It can be virtual machines, containers, serverless, AI, whatever it is. So what are the specific threats which can possibly happen for the workloads in the cloud platform? That's the domain 8. Then obviously data security. This domain is even more important because you're handling data for AI as well nowadays, right? Then we go to the application security domain where we talk about the secure SDLC process. How do I basically have a secure step-by-step SDLC process, and how can we basically make sure that cloud is properly secure in terms of application hosting and all. Then we'll talk about cloud specific incident response and resilience. And finally, what other technologies are basically there in cloud nowadays which can basically help us to foster the cloud journey? This is how basically the whole domains are organized in terms of the CCSK examination. This examination team has become a lot more easier nowadays. The only difference is that when you basically go for this examination, if you have these concepts clear, more than going through normally the trend which people have is that let's go for some dumps and let's pass the exam. But for this particular examination team, if you have your concepts clear, dumps are, you can practice some questions for good, that's fine, but there is no need of dumps or there's no need of other practice things. If you have the concepts clear, you can go for the exam very easily. Okay. As I told you before, we have two types of trainings: CCSK Foundation and CCSK Plus. And Foundation is just covering the 12 domains of it. But if you go for Plus, we will have some labs also, which is added to give you some reinforcement of your knowledge. So when talking about the study materials for CCSK, there are two things now we have. Okay, so one is this is the so now for the first time ever they have released something called as a CCSK official study guide. Okay, for the latest exam version, they have released the CCSK version 5 official study guide. But this is very simple, on to the point. But I would also prefer you read this particular security guidance as well. This is a bit slightly more detailed one, which can give you a more in-depth understanding. So if you ask me, I will always prefer my candidates to basically start with this one, then maybe for last minute reference they can go for the second one. Okay, these two are basically the best materials for prepare for the examination. I have seen that many people ask me, Krish, do I have to go for some other textbooks or do I have to buy some other textbooks? No, I never prefer for this examination you buy any other books. The only thing I felt is that for other books which you go for, they just extended the topics lengthy and again the same concepts. So use these two materials only for the examination, for preparation of the examination. And this particular books are available free of cost. Okay, you just you just have to create an account in CSA and you should be able to simply create an account in that. So no, we are not discussing about any tool specific tools here, but some examples only. We are not discussing about any tools here actually. Here we are talking about a high level best practices for all these things. Now, as a part of this particular, textbooks and all, I would also recommend you go through one more thing which can be useful to you, one time review, which is called as CCM and CAIQ. Okay, so basically what we do is that we have a CCM and CAIQ cloud control metrics and consensus assessment institute questionnaire. So this document also is a very good review before CCSK. Maybe it may not be required for you to memorize all the things in the book, but if you read this, at least this Excel sheet at least once, trust me, that will give you a lot of idea on your real time. See, at the end of the day, the goal should not be just passing the examination. The goal should be about getting the real concepts clear, and only the examination should come as a second thing for sure. That's my suggestion on this. Okay, and for buying the examination voucher or for all these things, it's quite simple and easy. You just has to go to the CSA website and you can buy the voucher from there. The examination cost is as of now $445 US plus tax, and again, that's quite more easier for now. Now team, let me do one thing to make sure you get an idea on how the exam questions may look like. I'll give you two questions for understanding team. How does the enterprise governance align its capabilities with the business objective? See, when question talking about, okay, question talking about enterprise governance, okay, enterprise governance is always about what? Enterprise governance is always about mapping whatever we are doing to align with the business, right? That means whatever things you're taking, either cloud or security or whatever you're doing in the company, it should be able to support the business goals, right? The answer is A, by ensuring that the IT initiatives support overall business strategy. I'll give you one more question, team. Next one. So, what is the key component for ensuring effective cloud governance? So, team, again, if you want to have an effective cloud governance, either if you go for a single provider or multiple providers, if you want to have an effective cloud governance, you should have a proper cloud security framework and policies. See, policies are the building blocks of a corporate governance, right? So, answer is C. So like this team, the questions may be slightly more challenging or slightly less challenging, but this is how the exam questions may look like. So you should make sure that you get a clear concept of the examination perspective for them. So even they have given clearly how much weightage they are giving for each domains as well.